Hi and welcome once again. I'm Jason Walker. We're looking at teas here at Walker Tea Review. We're sipping, we're slurping, we're sampling teas. We're doing an online tea tasting together so that we can explore teas together. We have a tea today from Adagio. It is a black tea. We've got our water ready to go. We've got our tea tasting cup for this particular tea. We've got our glass. This is our regular standard tea tasting equipment. If you want to get involved with tea tastings, a couple of things you may want to be aware of. One is future episodes will tell you the upcoming teas that we're going to be reviewing. For example, this Adagio tea is part of a Walker Tea Review sample pack that's available on Adagio's website. So you may want to check the future episodes page above for future or upcoming packages like that. Also, right above, you'll see the How to Taste page. And the How to Taste page, if you'll scroll down about midways through the page, what you'll see is an area of notes and ideas of things to appreciate, things to recognize in discerning, one tea versus another tea as far as their quality and other aspects of the teas. There's their aromas, for example. So we've got our tea, we've got our equipment here ready to go. Let's go ahead and get this one started. Let's see, we've got an Adagio YunnanNoir. Let's see, we've got our cup here ready. Now this cup set actually also comes from Adagio. This is a very standard tasting cup, which we get as a set with a lid, a cup. The set actually has a bowl that goes along with it. We're using the wine glass because it allows us to look at the colors together. So, with our tea here in our regular teaspoon, we're going to get a full-sized, as you see, where you got the bottom of your, the edge of your spoon here, and we're piling up, dropping that right in. Kind of shake that around, and you'll see that it gives a pretty even coat over and covering of the bottom of your cup, which is good. Adding our water. The water has been brought to a very light boil. Just when it starts to kind of rumble, you may see little, very tiny balls of air as the tea is beginning to boil. So it's not a rolling, roaring boil. We're going to set that aside. And when we talk about our teas, we talk about our teas in three areas. Our dry leaf. These are and I should point out, these are the areas where we really become aware of the aromas and aspects of a tea. The dry leaf, the wet leaf, and of course the liquor. So moving on, of course, we're going to jump right in, talk about our dry leaf. And of course, if you're making notes, you'll notice that there are tags on this video so that you can pause ever so briefly, because you will find that if you pause too long, your steep time will be different, and therefore your tastes will be different. So we take a quick pause, if any, to make our notes, get prepared for notes of dry leaf. Dry leaf already, I'm getting some very strong. It's like a chewing tobacco. The smokeless tobaccos. There's that pungent kind of a sweet leaf type smell coming off. Combination of that, a little bit of plum juice. So if I had to put, those two would be the characteristics. Let's look at the shape and kind of color of our dry leaf as well. Get out our spoon here. Now, what you're finding as far as our shape of our leaf, this resembles some of the aspects of a hyson, perhaps a kind of almost like a gunpowder, in that these teas look like they have been gone through a firing process that left them shiny looking as far as the texture of the surface. Also, you'll notice that these are not as delicately wrapped or twisted along the vein of the leaf. They are also not curled into a ball like a oolong. So these have just been kind of the best word would be crumpled, I guess. You're getting colors of these crumpled leaf that are around a you're getting anywhere from like a brownish gray type of a bistre. You're getting also a little bit of gold. You're getting some gold looking tips. Of course, the majority are the darker, richer colors. 20%, 10-20% is the gold tippy looking aspect. So when we talk about our leaf or dry leaf, we know the color, we've talked about the aromas, and we've talked about the shape. And this kind of gives us clues, especially when we talk about things like firing, as to what kind of aspects may not come out when we look at our wet leaf and our liquor. So we've given this some time. You know what, before I go into the wet leaf and the pouring here, before I forget, I should have given this tea a more proper introduction. This is Adagio's, as we said, YunnanNoir. Sample size like this is offered for $3. Although, as we said, there are special offers through Walker Tea Review that you may want to check out. It's from, as we said, Yunnan, which is southwest China, near the Vietnam border. So that kind of gives us a very brief introduction as to who and what this tea is. Now, our leaves, just from looking already, have opened up quite a bit. So there's plenty of flavor that has been released. And one of the skills that you may want to develop if you are a newcomer to teas is the use of the tasting cup. This is the kind of cup that a professional taster uses. This is a kind of a way to develop and show off some of your tea appreciation skills. Now, if you have a tea cup like this one that does not have an opening or a hole in the lid to let air in as you pour, that means your tea cup is likely going to dribble when it pours out of the spout here. So to remedy that, take your thumbnail, stick it between the lid of your cup, between the rim of your cup, I should say, and the lid, and that gives you enough air space to flow a little more smoothly as you pour. So here we go. It's always nice to have a tea towel to catch any drips as well. What you are seeing is a nice, dark, rich color already. We'll talk about that a little more in just a few minutes. When we get those last few drops out, those are usually some of the more potent drops, so we get those out. Now we have set that aside. Nice brown color. Already some strong aromas coming off, but that would be getting ahead of ourselves. So what we're going to be doing now is talking about our wet leaf. And again, with our wet leaf, we're talking about aromas. We're talking about any color or leaf shape change that's taken place through the steeping process. Now, to the other useful trick of having a tasting cup is that it's a convenient way to display your wet leaf. And the way that you would do that, careful because your cup is still hot, but you're going to have to turn it over. You're going to give it a few shakes to let those leaves fall down and land on your lid. And if you have done it well, yes, this is the result. A nice steaming pile of leaf right there. Now, first thing before this dries out and steam spreads everywhere, we do want to give this a sniff. There are aromas that remind me of a little bit of a peachy smell, but also kind of like a roasted sweet potato. That was one of the stronger smells I got as well. So aromas are there, pungent. We also want to talk about our leaf shape, and this gives us a very convenient way to look at our leaves. Like, for example, here's a nice full-size, well, the tip has been broken off, but still that's a good hefty size of leaf. We're going to be able to, as we said, we saw those yellow colors, which indicates that there are some tips around here somewhere, some And here's an example. Let's see if we can pull this apart. Aha, we have a tip that has a leaf and another semi-opened leaf that's coming off there that was probably wrapped around the bud there at one point, but is separated. And so you've got a bud there. So you could call that two leaves and a bud there. So you've got, as we said, full-size leaves and bud. Nice combination there. Okay. Again, our colors, they have mellowed out a little bit as far and become more consistent. You had the bistre, the grayish brown, but when you come to the steeping aspect, they've all become a smoother, more russet or auburn reddish brown in there. So we'll be able to set those aside. And of course, next we're going to be looking at our liquor. Our liquor, of course, we're going to be talking about colors, smells. We also want to be able to talk about the body. How does it feel in your mouth? Is it thin and watery, or is it thick and creamy, almost like a, or is it kind of in the middle? I would say like a brothy chicken soup type. Also, you want to be able to make notes about the aftertaste. How does this tea carry out through from the front initial tasting to swallowing and that remaining taste there? So those are some of the things we're going to be looking at. Already getting some warm type aromas, some kind of deeply, not so much of that fruity, peachy aspect that we talked about is not there. Although there's a little bit of that sweet potato kind of smell that we talked about in the wet leaf. But you also see that we've got a very rich mahogany type color in there. Quite, I mean, compared to other black teas can be thinner and a little bit brighter so that they give a more orange kind of copper amber, while this one is a deeper, as we said, more of a dark type of mahogany. So let's give this one a taste. You'll also note that I'm going to be slurping. Slurping allows you to release get the air in there, mix with, so that your taste buds are more receptive, and also any aromas can travel into your nasal passage and allows you to detect smells and aromas that way as well. This one, brisk. This one's got a nice kick of briskness to it. Other aspects that we noticed, this one, for me, had one of the strongest chocolatey, dark chocolate, that kind of bitter bite that's associated with a nice, rich, dark chocolate. This one has some of the stronger chocolatey notes that I've detected of a lot of teas. Let's see, it's also got a pretty heavy, hefty body to it. And again, you got that impression just from looking at it. This is a thick looking tea. So we talked about our aftertaste. Well, and our aftertaste carries out those so that you get that kind of bitter. You're getting a little bit of that kind of bitter dark chocolate after you've eaten this piece of dark chocolate and swallowed that kind of bitterness to it. But again, a lot of these kind of bitter type of teas give you a cooling sensation at the same time, which kind of helps balance those two. Yeah, this one just then as this one cooled off a little bit, the cocoa, the dark chocolate notes became a little pronounced. The briskness toned down a little bit. The maltiness is still quite prominent. So you get a nice blend. You get a blend of malty. You get a blend of dark chocolate aspect. You're getting a fairly hefty body to it. And so, and again, the aftertaste kind of carries that out and gives that kind of dark chocolate bitter slash cooling feel to it at the end. So when you kind of put all of this tea together, I mean, look at all the aspects from a whole. We give this tea an 84. It does, because it does have that strong malty chocolatey aspect. But the bouquet, as we said, we went from these kind of peachy, plum, tobacco, sweet potato notes in the dry and wet leaf, and then we didn't uncover them in balance with the chocolate and the malt. So could we have, refined, filled out this palette a little more, this bouquet a little more? Perhaps. We also found that this one did have that nice bold aftertaste. So overall, again, this was Adagio's YunnanNoir. This is a tea that we gave an 84 here at Walker Tea Review.